Guys, it is time for an NFL Week 1 salary review. Let's break down wide receiver salaries for Week 1, shall we? Okay. So despite all the Aaron Rodgers offseason drama, his own contract issues with the Packers, Davante Adams is your highest priced wide receiver for Week 1 at 8,300. Geoff, do we like this matchup on the road for Adams? Like, you would think both Rodgers and Adams will come into this season with definitely quite a bit of a chip on their shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no reason to fade Davante Adams like at under $9,000 ever. The thing is, we do have a lot of other top wide receivers that are available at really good prices, and at that point, you do have to start looking at the matchups. You have Marshawn Lattimore probably going to be, covering Davante Adams here. I feel like the Saints also could be trying to slow this game down as much as possible, maybe run it a little bit more. Maybe we'll get Taysom Hill at QB. I think that all leads me to just saying that Davante Adams is still going to be a very good player. There's a chance he gets 15 targets in this game, but there are other players I would rather play before him that are a lot cheaper at wide receiver. So I kind of view Davante as, if you want to game stack this with Rodgers, Davante, and bring it back with like Kamara or someone else on the Saints, that's absolutely fine. I don't feel like Davante Adams is going to end up being a must play just because there's other players available under 8K have just as much upside.
All right, Reid, what do you think?
Yeah, Geoff, like the entire slate is available under Davante Adams. Like, Geoff brings up some good points on, Davante Adams is never a bad play. You're never going to say anything bad about Adams unless it's week 1 and he's $8,300. I think this is quite expensive for a guy. I'm going to be fading him and Tyreek Hill because we have value, and we'll get to that in a little bit, Jesse, of guys that are in some pretty nice spots. I think it also matters too, and it's contingent on who you're playing in the other games, what games you want to stack. I don't necessarily think the Green Bay Saints game is one that I do want to stack because of Taysom Hill, because of some of the other question marks. I think a spot start from like Aaron Jones is okay, but if we're trying to attack, let's say, that Cincinnati-Minnesota game with Dalvin Cook, another game that I really, really like, then that means I can't pay up at wide receiver. This is the one position I do like, and I don't mind paying down because we have a ton of value, and we can get targets, wide receiver ones, in like the $6,000 range. So nothing bad on Adams, just a lot of plays on week 1 and value plays that I'd rather go to in this position.
Stan, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with both of these guys. Adams, he's going to average over 11 targets per game. He led the league last season with a 30% target share. So, that's massive. Marshawn Lattimore, he will probably shadow him. But, over the last 3 years, his PSF grade has decreased in each of those seasons. So he is gettable there. I just think that the ownership is just going to be way too high in this game because of the angry Aaron narratives and the last dance narratives. The game's indoors in New Orleans, over-unders at 50. So I think a lot of people are going to go here. The Saints defense, they were third in adjusted sack rate and third in pass defense DVOA. Aaron Rodgers and Adams, they're almost unstoppable. So they'll probably get theirs. But it's within the range of outcomes that, they can slow the Packers down. They have had all offseason to prepare for this game. So, as the other two alluded to, there's plenty of guys below here that actually have a similar target share and can average out the same amount of targets. So I would rather go there because I think the ownership is just going to be too high.
All right, well, after Adams, we have a pretty crowded group of receivers ranging from 8,200 down to 7,500 with names like Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs in that group. So Reid, who's your favorite play in this spot?
Yeah, of the three, Jesse, it's probably Hopkins. I do want to pair him up with Kyler Murray, that before his shoulder injury, he was putting up 40 burgers like every week. This guy was amazing. And then he got hurt and then he didn't eclipse 20, right? So I do want to play that. And it does kind of harken back to week 1 where I loved the Arizona stack against the 49ers. And that proved me right. And that was probably the only time I was right, was week 1. But of these top guys, yeah, I do love D-Hop. If I'm going lower, and I kind of alluded to it in the first question, I really like Terry McLaurin. I don't know what the guys think about this. I look against this Los Angeles Chargers team, and it's not necessarily the same. Yes, they get Derwin James back. They lose Ingram on one side. They're getting Joey Bosa back after that injury. But I do like McLaurin now with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I believe it's well documented what I think of Ryan Fitzpatrick and his Hall of Fame bid started in 2021 because this guy already should be in the Hall of Fame. No, I'm just kidding. But I do like McLaurin. I think you can get a wide receiver 1 here that's going to get you maybe 6-7 targets. We know that a guy like Fitzpatrick is going to force feed someone like Terry McLaurin, then I do like that. We talk about target share. Stan was talking about that. I think you're getting someone like a McLaurin who can get you that. And not a lot of people are going to play because the sentiment, the idea that this Chargers defense is solid, but they lost some key pieces there in the secondary and on that defensive line. So I like Terry McLaurin a little bit lower.
Stan, who do you like in that group?
Yeah, I'm with Reid here. Hopkins is my guy. He kind of stood out to me just from the day one. He averaged 10 targets per game last season, and the market share was 29%, which is right below Adams. So, I mean, he has a similar floor, similar ceiling. I just love that game environment as well. Arizona, they were third in number of plays ran last season. Tennessee, 30th in pass defense DVOA, and they've probably gotten worse this year. So, with the addition of Julio Jones to the Titans, with A.J. Brown and Ryan Tannehill, I mean, this thing can go back and forth. The over-under's at 51, so give me Hopkins all day.
Geoff, what about you?
Yeah, for me, it's got to be Calvin Ridley at 7,900. I think that's the spot to go to start at again if you're not interested in stacking one of those top two receivers. Ridley going up against the Eagles. They're a funnel defense. I know it's a cliche, but they really don't have a good secondary. They're stout against the run. Atlanta's really not a good run team anyways. And look, Matt Ryan, I know that all this talk is about Kyle Pitts. He's going to default to Calvin Ridley, a guy who got 150 targets last year, and now there's 150 targets with Julio Jones up for grabs. I think Ridley is in a spot where he could lead the league in targets. I think it's going to start right off the bat here against Philly. So there's really nothing that has me off this guy. It's early in the season. Sometimes he gets banged up, but he's going to be fresh. Matt Ryan's arm is going to be fresh. And I think this matchup against, like I said, a Philly defense that is just ripe for top-end wide receivers is too good to pass up.
All right, one of the guys in that price range we just discussed was second-year man Justin Jefferson in Minnesota. Now, we're not sure there's going to be a rookie wide receiver in this class that is able to have the impact he did, but looking at the list, the highest priced rookie wideout is Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase, all the way down at 4,800. So, Stan, are you taking a wait-and-see approach for rookie wide receivers in week one?
Not necessarily, but I'm fading Chase here in this one just because the matchup. Minnesota D, they were terrible last year. But I do think they're going to be one of the better units this season. Zimmer, he's a defensive guru. They filled the cupboards on that side of the ball. I mean, Dalvin Tomlinson and Michael Pierce back on the defensive line. They acquired Patrick Peterson, one of the best cornerbacks. He could, shadow Chase. You don't know. They also got A.J. Woods in the secondary. That's added to all the other talented pieces they already had on that side of the ball. And, Zimmer, he's already intimated in the preseason that he's already made some tweaks and adjustments to the scheme. The Bengals, I mean, they're rolling into Stidham, season. The wheels are spinning, the flashing lights. They got the body kit, the sound, the woofers are bumping. Everybody's enamored with them. But, open the hood, like what's there? That offensive line is going to be a real problem. I think Zimmer and company, they're going to cause some serious problems, serious trouble to that Cincinnati offense. So, yeah, give me the fade here.
Geoff, what do you think? Would you take a chance, or are you going to wait and see?
I mean, I definitely do not think that you should be fading the rookie group as a whole. I do think that you need to look at each scenario on its own. And I'm not that scared of the Minnesota, defense, at least maybe not as scared as Stan. I'm not really a believer that Patrick Peterson's just going to turn it back on. But you have T. Higgins there as well. I think Davante Smith, for me, assuming he's healthy, he's banged up right now, would be the most interesting play in that 4K range. Again, the Eagles don't really have a depth chart at wide receiver, and the other guys are banged up. I think it's a really good matchup against Atlanta in a game that could be higher scoring. But, you have guys who are really cheap. Like Jalen Waddle, I mean, he's got some depth chart things. He's going to be playing behind Devontae Parker. I'm not a big guy, a proponent of Tua, but he's only 3,600, Jesse. I mean, this just does not cost you very much to take a shot on an explosive player. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown at the bare minimum, 3,000 going for Detroit. I mean, this team could be down 40 points by halftime, and there's no depth chart there. Tyrell Williams probably going to be injured by halftime there. So don't be out on the rookies at all. You got to give these guys a shot. They're too cheap for week one.
Reid, your face was just like,
yeah, 40 catches. That is stamp approval, slate approved. I'm not going to fade these rookie receivers. What we've seen, Jesse, is that these guys, these rookies, they're already pro ready, right? Pro ready to an extent. And Justin Jefferson really, bucked that trend. Last year, he was fantastic. I'm actually going to be chasing Chase. Oh, I didn't even realize I did that. And I get what Stan is saying. And if the sentiment, because he's going to be popular, right? I think what we're seeing with Joe Burrow from the Minnesota secondary, that in the first half of the season, they were a bottom 10 defense in terms of points allowed and secondary. And then obviously injuries and scheduling really ruined, right? That the continuity of that defense. But at the same time, like Jamar Chase, he gets his quarterback back. He gets, he had a 20% target share in 2019 college, led all of college football in yards per catch. And so a lot of stuff is going his way. But I do think he's going to be popular. I love the Jalen Waddle call. He's a guy that can break open a defense very, very quickly. Devonta Smith, obviously a little bit banged up, but Chase is by far and away the best in his class. And, I'm going to be chasing it. Man, that's a bad pun.
All right, Slamberg pick time. Reid, as things stand right now, who is your favorite wide receiver play in week 1?
It's hard to go against Ridley. I know that, Jeff, but I do love D-Hop. I think you take a look at what this offense is going to do, and Kyler Murray healthy, it's such a good stack. Give me DeAndre Hopkins.
All right, where are you going, Stan?
Oh, caught a mid-drink.
I'm going to go Laviska Shenault here. I'm going to go down in price a little bit. 5,000, there's a lot of unknown uncertainty with this offense. Trevor Lawrence, Urban Meyer. I'm bullish on Urban Meyer, which is maybe contrary to a lot of people's takes. He's proven in college. I think he's a very smart guy. Shenault, 6'1", 227. He caught 58 at 79 targets last season, 600 yards, 5 touchdowns. That was in a Jay Gruden offense with Gardner Minshew, Mike Glennon, and Jake Luton threw into him. So I think this offense is going to be a lot more explosive. The matchup is pristine. Houston, 29th in pass defense DVOA. And, man, the AFC South, they got some terrible defenses. So it's going to be interesting.
All right, Jeff. Slate approved.
I mean, there's so much to choose from, Jesse. It's like we're walking down into the lobby into a big Vegas buffet here. But I'm gonna take Calvin Ridley. I think you just take what's given to you. Atlanta's gonna be passing a ton. He's got a great matchup against the terrible Philly secondary. Just gonna get the targets this year. So I think 7,900 Calvin Ridley.